The 2022 World Cup may seem like ages away, but qualification actually started all the way back in 2019. And now in March of 2021, it's finally time for the European Qualifiers to begin. The 10 group winners qualify directly, and the 10 runner-ups plus 2 teams go to the playoff round. Predicting every team that will qualify is a near impossible task. Despite this, I will do my best to predict the 13 European teams that will make it to Qatar. In general, predictions are heavily opinionated, so it's only natural that you will disagree with some of them. Because of this, I suggest you write your own predictions in the comment section. As implied by the title, this will be divided into 2 parts. Part 1, where I predict the winner and runner-up of each qualification group, and Part 2, where I predict the teams that will qualify through the playoffs. If you have any other questions regarding exactly how the qualification process works, I suggest you look it up on your own, as I cannot do a better job of explaining it than any other video or article already in existence can. I hope you enjoy the video. Let's start with Group A. Even though Portugal finished behind Ukraine in Euro qualifying, I think they will win this group. One reason is that they have actually improved a lot since then, even though they weren't terrible. Not to mention Serbia actually was in their group as well and finished behind Portugal. Another reason is that Ukraine are better than both Serbia and the Republic of Ireland. So the fact that they finished ahead of Portugal doesn't really mean much in this case. Also, Portugal did great in the Nations League despite failing to win their group, and their squad is by far the strongest. They should be able to win. Interestingly enough, Serbia and Ireland also shared qualification groups for the previous World Cup, where Serbia finished first, 2 points clear of Ireland. I think Serbia will manage to finish ahead of them again. Ireland has not improved at all since then. In fact, I'd argue they've gotten worse. Serbia performed better in both the Nations League and Euro qualifying, so I have to favor them. Only marginally better, but still. And as a little bit of trivia, I actually predicted Portugal and Serbia to advance from their group in Euro qualifying as well. I was wrong then, but let's hope I'm right this time. This is one of the more, if not the most straightforward group of them all. First and second place will almost certainly be occupied by Spain and Sweden respectively. They were in the same group in Euro qualifying, where Spain finished first comfortably. I think that will happen again, even though Sweden are not weak. Kosovo, Georgia and Greece are not good enough for Sweden though. Greece have improved a little bit since their dreadful Euro qualifying campaign, but not enough. Italy infamously failed to qualify for the 2018 World Cup, but I still think they'll win this group. They have the best squad and performed significantly better than Switzerland in both Euro qualifying and the Nations League. Roberto Mancini has done a fantastic job at rejuvenating Italy. Meanwhile, Switzerland should be expected to finish second, despite Northern Ireland being far from weak. Even Bulgaria have become somewhat decent recently, or at least improved, but not enough to topple Switzerland. It's worth noting that Switzerland qualified for the 2018 World Cup by defeating Northern Ireland in the playoffs through a very controversial penalty. But I doubt that will make a difference 3 to 4 years later. Reigning world champions France should be able to finish in first place. They have one of, if not the best squads in the world, and soared through the Nations League group, a group that was highly competitive. Ukraine should be able to finish second, as they have proven more than Finland and Bosnia-Herzegovina on an international level, in both Euro qualifying and the Nations League. Belgium should be able to win this group, but it's worth pointing out that Wales is a team they struggle a lot against for some reason, failing to beat them in their 4 most recent competitive fixtures. Despite this, I think Belgium will finish in first place, even if Wales manages to pick up a point or even a win against them, due to Belgium's greater consistency and superior squad. Distinguishing Wales and the Czech Republic is almost impossible though. They both finished second in their Euro qualifying groups and won their Nations League groups. Wales did obtain 4 more points in the latter, but a lot of that has to do with the Czechs being forced to use their C team in a couple of matches after a COVID outbreak plagued their squad. Still though, 4 points is a noteworthy difference, and Wales' ELO rating is a little higher. The Czech Republic are a rising side that has a bright future, but I feel like Wales still have a little more to give before they stagnate. Austria did manage to obtain the same amount of points in Euro qualifying, excluding matches played against the 6th place team, but Denmark outperformed them in the Nations League. They were in different leagues, so comparing them is a bit unfair. However, I still have to favor Denmark, since they were in the higher division, and thus proved more against stronger teams. Teams like England. Although I think Austria will manage to clinch 2nd place, assessing the strength of Scotland is a nightmare, because of how inconsistent they are. Winning away against the Czech Republic, but losing to Israel and Slovakia, for example. Group qualifying rewards consistency though. which Scotland seemed to struggle with. It's worth pointing out that they are a team on the rise, but the same is true for Austria. Not to mention Austria obtained more points in the Nations League. A very tricky group, but given their performances in the Nations League and Euro qualifying, I'm left with no other choice but to favor the Netherlands to win it. Distinguishing Norway and Turkey is much more difficult though. Turkey did outperform them significantly in Euro qualifying, but in Norway's defense I think they had a tougher group. Not to mention they bounced back magnificently in the Nations League, where they obtained 4 more points than Turkey. Turkey's win against France in Euro qualifying was very impressive, but consistency is more important, and Norway has displayed more of that. Russia obtained 1 more point than Croatia in qualifying for the Euros, excluding matches played against 6th place San Marino, but Croatia's group was more competitive, so that additional point doesn't mean much. Also, even though Croatia only won 1 match in the Nations League, the fact that they merely managed to stay up in the highest division is enough to slightly favor them over Russia, who can only manage to finish as runners-up in their League B group. Likewise, Russia should be able to finish as runners-up of this group as well. They performed better than Slovakia and Slovenia in both Euro qualifying and the Nations League. England will probably win this group, but Poland and even Hungary recently are pretty good teams. Yet the facts remain. England's performance in the Euro qualifiers and the Nations League was superior to that of both Poland and Hungary. Comparing Poland and Hungary is difficult, because they were in different Nations League divisions. Poland's performance was still good enough to favor them over Hungary though. Most people expect the teams to finish in this order, but I think the point margin will be smaller than anticipated. Hungary is a rising team. Despite their struggles in recent years, I think Germany will win this group. Their Euro qualifying and Nations League campaigns is all the evidence we need, even though the latter of the two was considered a disappointment. Iceland defeated Romania 2-1 at home in the Euro playoffs, but home advantage likely played a big part in that win, and Romania definitely has the potential to defeat Iceland in Bucharest. Iceland lost every game in the Nations League A, and Romania finished 3rd in their League B group, even with an awarded win against Norway, because their national team were not allowed to leave the country to play the match. In other words, comparing the two is almost impossible, at least their Nations League campaigns. Using their Euro qualifying performances as a tiebreaker, I have to favor Iceland. Romania's group was tougher, but Iceland's additional point tally of 5 is impossible to neglect. Romania could definitely also finish 2nd, and this was one of the most painful predictions to make, but I think Iceland has at least another major tournament in them before this generation declines. Maybe not the World Cup, but still, at least the Euros. Those are my predictions for round 1 of UEFA's qualification for the 2022 World Cup. Please tell me your predictions in the comment section. Remember to subscribe and leave a like if you enjoyed the video. Stay tuned for part 2, which should be uploaded in March of next year if my calculations are correct.